Hello friends, so today we're gonna discuss the two problems from weekly contest 196 from Leetcode. The first and second problems are good and the further videos will consist of all the problems. So let's start. The first problem states that can you make arithmetic progression from this sequence? So you are given an array of numbers ARR, and so you are given a sequence of numbers. You have to call that whether the sequence of numbers forms a arithmetic progression, which means that the difference between any two consecutive elements is same. So return true if the array can be rearranged to form an arithmetic progression, or return false. So as you can see, it can only form a arithmetic progression if they are sorted and the difference between any two consecutive elements is same. Okay, and because the length is from 2 to 1000, so what you can easily do here is, I'll take it on to the code part now. So you can first sort all the elements and then take the first two elements to find out the difference between the two elements. And for all the other elements, we have to check that whether they form and they have the same common difference. If they are having the same common difference, then they are forming an arithmetic sequence or not. So I'll take it on to the code part. You can first sort the whole array. Then the difference between any two consecutive numbers is just the second number minus the first number. So we are assuming that this is the difference for the whole sequence. And then what you'll do, you'll start from the second element to the last element, and then you'll find a difference between this ith element and the last element, I minus 1 element. If this difference is not equal to difference which we have calculated, then there is not a single arithmetic difference throughout the whole series. So you have to return false because it is not forming an arithmetic sequence, else you have to return true. I hope you understand this question. It's pretty simple. Let's move on to the second question. This question is something like a puzzle. So I'll tell you why. So you are given that you have a wooden plank of n units and there are some ants on this wooden plank. They are either moving left or moving right. Okay, when the two ants moving in two different directions meet at some point, then they change their direction and continue moving again. Okay, so what does this mean? So let's assume there are two ants moving in the left, one in the left and one in the right, and then when they coincide, they change their direction and again move it and then move apart. Then what you have to do here is, when an ant reaches one end of the plank at time t, it falls out of the plank immediately. Okay, so there is a length of this plank. If it comes to an end, it will fall apart. It will fall out of the plank. So given an integer n and two arrays left and right, the position of the ants to the left and to the right, which are moving to left and right, you have to return the moment when the last ant fall out of the plank. The last movement. Okay, at that point when there is an ant on the plank, but it will fall out at that moment. Cool. So you can see with this example, as you can see, there are 4 ants and the first ant is at this position, second at this, third, fourth. It is moving to the left and these are moving to the right. When they coincide at this point, as you can see, next point at the next second, they will both move to this point and they will coincide and they will again start moving in the opposite direction. So as you can see, this ant moved like this and this ant will move like this. Now there is another ant coming from here and here, so they will again change direction and they too will again change direction, and then this will happen, and at time 4 they will, at time 4 as you can see, they are at the plank, but this is the last moment they are on the plank. At time 5 they are not on the plank, so you have to return the last moment on which they are on the plank. So you have to output 4. Okay, the main trick for this question here is how you are counting for the collisions, how you are accumulating for the collisions. So let's assume there is one ant which is moving like this and there is one more ant moving like this. Like they will meet at this point and they will change direction. Okay, so let's assume we first take some example. So let's assume there is one ant at 1, there is 1 point at 3, there is a 1.5. So after 1 second, this will come to 2, this will come to 4, and after the second they both comes at this point 3 and they will coincide. So one is moving like this and the second is moving like this. Now because the ant has the same, like as you can say, they have the same weight and they will coincide, or like they will collide, and when they collide both will turn around. But you can also say that because this ant move like this again and this ant will move like this, but because every ant is identical, what does this mean? You can also suppose that this ant do not change its parts anyhow. What I'll tell you is, like, you assume that you are driving a car, okay, and there's also one car coming from here. So you are sitting in this car, as you can see. Both cars are the same. Okay, and let's assume that there's a road, there's a long road, and you want to find out who will get out of this road first. When you meet at a point, let's assume you both are coming towards each other, and when you meet at a point, because both of the cars are same, let's assume that at the point you meet, at the same point at which you meet, you both jump out of the cars and come to each other car. Okay, what does this mean? Because after the collision, this car will turn like this and this car will turn like this, and because you were sitting on this car, because you have jumped and this is the same point, you will start moving in this direction, which means that let's assume because the car are same, you will not feel any difference. Why? Because you are moving in this direction and you will again move at this direction, and this person will move in this direction and it will stay move like this direction. Because the car are same, you will not like find out whether we have collided or whether we have changed anything, because the cars are same, and we will start doing the same journey which we have done, which we are doing earlier, and we have to just find out who will get out of this plank earlier. So that's the whole trick. You will not like get disturbed about the collisions. You will just understand, because this is moving right, this is moving left. You have to find out if it continues to move like right, then how much time it will take to fall out of this plank. Same for this, if it moves to the left with the same speed of 1 second per movement, after how much time? Because 1, 2, 3. After third second it will be on the plank, but after the fourth second it will fall off. So you have to find out that what is the longest time it will take. So for this ant, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. After the fourth point it will be here. Okay, so that's the whole trick. I'll take it on to the code part now. I hope you understand. So you have to find out the maximum. For the right ant, you have to find out how it will get to the right, because it is moving to right. So you are iterating over the right ant which are moving to the right. So these are moving to the right. So how much time it will take to get off? If some ant is at this position and we know the length of the plank, so we will do n minus, or the length minus the position of this ant. So that's the whole thing, n minus position of this ant, which is right eye. And same for the left. Left is just left eye, because as you can see, if this ant is on 3, it will require 1, 2, 3 seconds to fall off of the plank. So that's the whole trick, and you have to find out the maximum of all of them. I hope you understand both of the questions. If you still have any doubts, please mention down. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Keep coding. Bye.